I was never the smartest student in the world.
Either was I. Straight 2.5 GPA kind of guy.
Yeah, but I had people skills.
My name is Austin Tucker, and I'm on a mission to find the best come-up stories in the world. Everyone talks about success, but no one talks about the in-between. The mess, the risk, the doubt. I'm here for the people who made it anyway and are willing to tell their stories honest, unpolished, and real. These are the Breakout Bunch.
My name is Pletke. I have been in the mortgage industry for about 7, coming up on 8 years. It's been an incredible experience. I've learned a lot. My main thing is, mindset, motivation, to kind of, push
Love
yourself and get you to that next level. I think, a lot of things that I've seen in the industry have really impacted me personally, professionally. But yeah, that's basically kind of where I'm at. I've been a broker for 2 years. Besides that, before that, I was in retail with Rocket Mortgage. I was a director of mortgage banking there. I ran, very, very successful sales teams, helped new bankers, grow and to be really successul. And then I ended up splitting off. I feel like the culture, kind of lost its niche at the company. But, I have nothing but good things to say about that Rocket Mortgage and everything, but it's been great. It's been
a
great,
hell of a journey.
Yeah, a long journey. It definitely started off, I was like, could I do this? Am I good at doing this? But honestly, if you're a people person, you can be good at sales no matter what. And so that really helped.
Yeah, and I say this on almost every podcast, but my favorite thing I ever learned from a mentor was we're not salespeople. We're professional friend makers.
Yeah.
And making a friend with someone who wants a service that you provide is the easiest way to make a sale.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. And I think the biggest thing is like, I was never the smartest student in the world.
Either was I. Straight 2.5 GPA kind of guy.
Yeah, but I had people skills.
So,
and that was a big thing.
My little claim to fame was always I would get a C+ in every class just so I can not study for the final. So I would do straight C's the first 50 questions and zigzags the rest. And as long as I got like a 45%, I passed the class.
Yeah.
I refused to study for a final. But I never wanted to go to school. And like every teacher I ever had always told my mom, like, if he just applied himself, he would do so good. I was like, I have no interest in college. I have no interest in doing anything. I just want to go be a business owner. So, like, I'm not going to try. Well, technically, I tried in a very unique way. I actually, broke the system.
Yeah. And it's something where you just have to, put your mind to something. And I think, I went to college. I graduated from Northern Arizona University, and I don't regret, one single thing. I know I was a hotel restaurant management major, and I really wanted to be in the hotel industry. But what I saw was like, you work holidays, you're working weekends, you're working overnights.
Trying
and
to tell
all
me you
this
don't
stuff.
do that right now?
And I still do that right now. But at the same time, it was one where I was like, I just didn't want to be in that environment and just have, to cater to people in that hospitality industry. And now I'm catering to people, but for something where their life goals, they're achieving something. You know?
It's the biggest investment they'll make in their life.
Biggest investment, not everybody's buying a private jet or something like that. So I'm always tell people this is your biggest financial, investment that you're going to make. And I've really seen a lot of people grow from it. And I think it's that one, I always say, like, at the end of the day, I look at it and I'm like, wow, I made this family's able to, have children, do all this and get in a home because of, what I was able to accomplish for them. And of course the agent on that side of the transaction, but it feels good, building that relationship. And, those are people that, are going to work with you for life.
Yeah.
And so I run a fully self-generated business. I don't buy leads or anything like that. The reason being is I just built relationships with people, and I just get a referral after referral after referral, which is, it took a while to get there.
Of course.
But
it doesn't happen overnight.
It does not happen overnight. And as a broker, coming from retail banking and going into this whole wholesale, market as just your own person, it's night and day. And I don't think a lot of people know that. And so I hopped in. I'm like, I know mortgages. I was a director of sales. I used to coach mortgages.
Super different.
Yeah.
It's like you're running your own mortgage company.
You're running your own mortgage company. You're your own business owner.
Yeah.
And I took a lot of pride into it, but there was a lot of times where I was like, I don't know if I can do this. I don't know if I can.
How did you deal with those feelings? I feel like we've all kind of been there a time or two.
Yeah, and I think a negative mindset, I used to say this all the time, a negative mindset will work 99% of the time. If you think about something negative, it will sit there and just keep hitting you and punching you and punching you. But it's like, what do you do to like, overcome that, right?
And I'm not like a big like spiritual manifesting guy, but like it's like fact that like if you think that you want something, like you'll go get it. You'll put yourself in those positions. You'll overhear that conversation that might get you into a room with the guy who's going to help you, and like there's an element of luck to it.
Yes.
But also it's only so much luck when you're actively trying to get to that place. Like you're the one putting yourself in that position.
Yes, exactly. And I always say it's not luck. I think it's skill, but it's how you got yourself there. And I think, when I think it was June of 2023. So this is my officially 2 years of being a mortgage broker. The first 6-7 months, it was all about how do I build business? How do I create these connections? How do I talk to people and get them to use me? Because there's so many great loan originators, so many great companies out there. What separates me from them, right? And I think the biggest thing was building rapport, but putting yourself out there. And, there's all these agents that have, their preferred lender, right? But all it takes is that one time where they mess up. And then as long as you're that person on the back end that can be able to help out, I never want to be your first person. I'll be your second person. Let me know if you have a difficult situation.
Yeah.
Let me see, how I can help. Have you ever had a client, denied? Can I see what they, were able to do? I think that really changed things for me. But I think the biggest, motivator was telling myself that I can do it and not, pushing myself down saying like, no, I'm not good enough. I can't do this.
Yeah.
I think one thing I did is, there's a gentleman I know in, Seattle, Washington, and he crushes it. I mean, he's been a broker for like 10 years, and I always thought it was like, I'm the best at what I do. And I was super cocky about it. And I finally told myself, I was like, you know what? I'm going to sit down and I'm going to just listen, and, I'm going to lower my ego, because I think everyone has an ego, but I lowered my ego to a point where I was like, okay, I want to hear what he has to say. I want to talk to him and just basically tell him, hey, I'm struggling right now. What are you doing that's different? He took an hour out of his day and showed me a couple of things that he did. And that 1 hour changed my whole entire business model and how I motivated myself to get up in the morning. What I did, I didn't wake up and go, oh, this is going to be a bad day. I don't have any clients to talk to. I figured out a way to prospect, to try and get new business. And now it's, nonstop.
Yeah.
But it took a while to get there.
So what got you into mortgage in general? Like, how did you go from college, hospitality to mortgage?
So I like to say this story because it's a funny one. And I think it's pretty motivational to show like what change you can do. And I started out in hospitality, and I wanted to be in the hotel industry. And when I was at in college and everything, there was a company that recruited me to work for a child nutrition company. I was like, oh, awesome. So I can still be in the food and beverage industry. I'll have a Monday through Friday job, and I'll be able to like help children with like nutrition and all that. Well, it turns out that was not the case at all. It was a brand new startup company. It was brutal. I basically graduated college from Northern Arizona University in Flagstaff, moved down to Scottsdale, Arizona, and I worked in a school district, and I was quote unquote a lunch lady. I served kids meals, and my W-2 in 2018 was $29,000 gross.
I mean, they didn't lie to you. You were a nutritionist.
I was a nutritionist. Yeah.
Stretch of the term, but
very big stretch. And I was in the worst, depressing time, I guess you would say, of my life. I don't like to use the word depressing, but it was. I could barely afford my rent. I could barely afford, doing anything. Almost asking like, my parents like for help. Maybe I need to move back home and move in with them. And one time I was sitting in the back of an Uber and just all sad and bummed out. And one of my friends, he was working at Rocket Mortgage at the time. And he's like, hey, I think you'd be good at sales. Like, why don't you give it a shot? And I've never really taken a risk before. And I just like, yeah, it's scary. And especially when you don't really have like any money. And you also, I didn't even know what.
That's the perfect time to do it. Because you're not comfortable. Then put yourself in an uncomfortable position.
100%. And I think that's what I learned a lot about even going to the broker world. I put myself in an uncomfortable position. I was doing great at Rocket Mortgage, but I wanted to leave and take a risk.
But
and
comfort will cripple you. It's the same thing like if you're in a relationship and you're just comfortable, but like it sucks, you're just wasting time and you're not going to get anywhere.
Exactly. And I think that was a big factor. So tracking back, I was sitting in this Uber, all sad. He goes, why don't you, give Rocket Mortgage a shot? I'll put in a referral for you, see if you can do it. So I go in for the interview. I didn't even know what a mortgage was.
How old were you at this time?
23.
Okay.
So I'm about, 22, 23. And I basically went in, got the interview, and I got signed up to, go in and, pass your SAFE exam, right? And I think there's a passing grade of 75. I was probably the worst student in the class because I'm a terrible test taker. I knew the material. I just got nervous on the test. I don't know what it was. I'm pretty sure I have a learning disability, but whatever. But I got done with the test, and I'm watching it scroll and circle. It's like a 3-hour exam, and boom, 75.
Dude, that's okay. Context. Weird connections me and you have had.
Yes.
We grew up in the same area. We had the same best friend.
Yeah.
I also worked in the hotel industry. And I also got a 75 on the dot. Funny enough, I changed 10 questions at the last moment, which they always tell you not to do.
Yeah.
And I still, to this day, have no idea, did that make me pass or did that take me from a 78 to a 75?
Exactly.
Doesn't matter, but it's weird.
You pass. That's an A+, right? As long as you pass that exam.
Yeah.
Because that exam teaches you a lot about the industry and different type of loan products, all that stuff. But it doesn't teach you how to sell.
Also,
now,
a lot of the material's wrong.
And yeah, a lot of it's, not the best. Yeah. And so passing that, I go in and then I learn how to hop on the phones. And I'll never forget, we started off transferring phone calls to actual bankers because we're waiting for our licenses to go through. Everyone's pumped up. Everyone's super excited. And I was so bad at it.
That was horrible.
I was so bad. I did not know how to talk to a person to save my life. And there was always these stack rankings. I was always at the bottom. And there was this one guy, he did really good in the class and passed his test, got an A or something like that, was the outstanding student. And he did really well at these transferring phone calls. He was always on the top. He was so cocky. His ego was out the door, all of that. But once we got our licenses, we all went to mortgage banking. And I did what I think was the best thing is I talked to mortgage banker. I didn't care if you were there for 20 years and you were just working. I would sit next to you at your desk and, see what you were doing. And I would listen to what you were saying. And I would really, really mentally just try and engage in every single thing. And from there, I ended up, I was going to get a deal. I was doing this. And then I started seeing myself move up. But this one kid that had this ego, he didn't close a loan the whole month. He didn't close a loan his whole second month. And everyone, now we're all here, he's down here. And he let his ego get so high that he thought he was the best. He ended up quitting 3 months in.
I mean, anyone can make transfers. It's a contact sport. If you call 500 people, you'll get 50 transfers, whatever, 20, whatever that might be. Knowing how to put together the stuff and actually articulate that to the client is how you make sales. You don't have to be a great salesperson.
No.
You have to be really good at putting together the solution for that person.
And every person's different. And I think that helped me grow. And from working as a lunch lady and then going in to basically this whole different environment where I was selling loans. I was making money. And I got a $10,000 check the third month that I was there.
Half of your yearly salary.
And I was
almost.
this is insane. like I can do this. And so that was like the ticking point, and then, you know, the sky was the limit.
So
And it went up from
you
there.
had your lunch lady job where you made like under 30 grand. What was your best month? Or what's like your best year or month that you've had in your mortgage career?
When I was at Rocket, I think I made close to 300. And that's when, you know, I was like, this is incredible. And I always say, like, there was a saying at Rocket where it was like, numbers and money follow, they don't lead. And I didn't have a lot of money when I started, so I wasn't really like all focused on like the money. I think I just really liked the environment, the job, and I felt like Wolf of Wall Street. I was like, I'm in a sales center, I'm on the phone, I'm calling people, all of that stuff. And I think I didn't really think about the money aspect, and I just went out and just tried to do the best I could, and was competitive when I understood that, like, oh, I can actually do this.
Yeah.
There was a lot of great mentors, you know, that I still talk to this day. And, you know, I wish I talked to more now. And we've all kind of branched out from Rocket. A lot of us have started their own brokerages, or, you know, they're their own business owner now. But a lot of those people really helped guide me to where I believe I'm at today. And I think it's who you know, but it's also about like putting yourself out there, taking risks, sacrificing. I worked, you know how I said I didn't want to work weekends or anything like that. But when you love what you do, it's not really work, in my opinion. And so, yeah, I worked on a Sunday. I worked on those Thursday nights when everyone was going to go out, or Friday night when someone was going to go out. I had to talk to a client. Well, that separated me. And I think that helped me out a lot. And I took a lot of sacrifices. I lost some friendships. I lost some potential relationships with women. A lot of things, but it helped me about who I was. And my dad always told me, and he's like my biggest role model, hands down. And he worked his butt off, and he didn't start from, you know, he didn't come from money. He lived in, I think he shared a room with like 6 of his brothers and sisters and stuff in the south side of Chicago. And he ended up being, you know, the vice president of Yum Brands, which is Taco Bell, KFC, Pizza Hut for international security. But he had this work ethic to him, and he worked really hard. And I kind of just admired that. And I wanted to prove, not to myself, but also to like my family, that, you know, I'm a successful guy. And my dad always said, he's like, you're a people person. You can talk to people, you know. I'll be at the grocery store, and the person in front of me I'm having a conversation with, right? And I think that helped me out a lot with this career. But a lot of people in this industry can get so tied up on, oh, their interest rates are high, or, oh, I don't get any business right now. Well, what are you doing instead of like complaining about the negatives? Like, how are you switching this stuff into a positive? Okay, the interest rates are high. Well, there's still people making money out there. There's still people, you know, buying houses. Well, how are you going to change that? I think, yeah, the sacrifices, the risk taking really got to me where I'm at. And I think just mentors and just talking to people that have experience has really, really helped me a ton.
Yeah, it's funny you're saying like people are still out there doing stuff. Like I left mortgage for a little bit during the interest rate hike and stuff.
Yeah.
And I remember there was a time like I was selling solar door to door, and like I hated it. There was good money in it. It was great, whatever. But I was like, I'm good at mortgage. I should just go back to mortgage. There are people buying homes. Like there is money being made out there. And once I like shifted that mindset, it was crazy. I started getting referrals. I started getting put in rooms with people that were helping me, you know, grow my business and everything. And next thing you know, I was like, I'm moving back to California. I was living in Boston at the time. I was like, I'm moving back. I'm going to go start working in the headquarters office again. And like, it's changed my life. I've made more money in the last 9 months than I have in my entire life.
Yeah. And this isn't a market where, if I always say tough times don't last, tough people do.
Yeah.
And my dad taught me that quote when I was younger. And I have used that quote to get through so much of my life, because it has helped me tremendously. Because there are tough times. You know, you're always, whether it's in a relationship, whether it's in, you know, work or anything, a passing away of a family member, passing away of a friend. And, I've had all of that happen to me. And I always say tough times don't last, tough people do. How are you going to grow from it? How are you going to, prove to yourself that you can be better, and, get through this tough patch in your life? And I'm a strong guy, I believe in therapy. I think
everyone should be in therapy.
I
don't
think
care if
everyone
things are good, bad, and different.
I was so against it. I was
too.
so against therapy. I was like, you know what? Like, I can handle this all. If you think and talk to yourself about your feelings and all that stuff, and you are not able to get it out, like, therapists have ways of doing that. And I'm a very big, strong believer in therapy because it has helped me, become a really, a better person just in general. But also, understand my flaws and not take them as like a negative thing. Take them as a positive and understand that everyone's different. Everyone's got shit going on in their life, but it's how do you push through it, right?
Yeah.
And how do you,
it's learning from it.
persevere.
It's learning from your failures and the resistance in your life and stuff like that to get to the next point.
Exactly. 100%. And I always think about, things that have happened in my life. And I always say it's like the stupid YOLO mentality that we heard when we were kids is so true, though. It's like you only live once. What are you going to do with your life?
Oh,
right?
I love it. My new mentality is say yes to everything.
Say yes to everything.
If someone wants to go on a trip, like I just went to Japan, and my buddy called. Funny enough, he was getting married. I was his best man. He ends the engagement, calls me and says, "You want to come to Japan?" And I'm like, "Dude, I have a wedding during that time." And he's like, "We're leaving the day after my wedding. I think about my wedding, but like I hate flying. I've never been international. It's a 12-hour flight, but I was like, this is an experience I can't pass up on. I'm just gonna go," and I did, and it was the best 17 days of my life. But if I was scared and hesitant, I wouldn't have done it, and I would have missed out on something that was incredible.
And and you could take that back into me sitting in an Uber going, I could have just said, no, I'm okay. And I feel like a lot of people at that time, if they were in my shoes, would have been like, yeah, maybe take the risk, maybe not. A lot of people are hesitant. And you see that with a lot of buyers and, people, clients that you work with, they can be hesitant. But if you can just drop your senses to know okay, I can do this. I can figure this out. I'm going to give this a shot because I only have one chance of doing this and it's right now. It may pop up in the future, but I don't know. And that's helped me a lot.
Another thing is at our age, and especially when we started, 5-6 years ago, whatever, you worry a lot about how people are going to look at you. And the support from your friends and family, love when people support you. But there's a lot of times where people will be like, you're stupid, you're making a bad decision, that's so not safe, you're not going to have a steady paycheck. And they give you all this shit. But then you make it and you start making money, and now you're the most successful person in the group. And they're like, you got so lucky. It's like, I just tried, and I put myself out there, and I made a decision that changed my life trajectory forever.
Yeah. I think I've made a lot of, everyone's made a stupid decision in their life.
Of course.
I definitely have made them. For example, I tried to do this whole Toro car business thing where I was going to buy cars, rent them, and ended up getting, connected with this guy that was, he graduated a couple years after me. We were close. We're still friends. But, he wasn't someone I probably should have done business with. And I ended up, getting in some debt because I bought cars and I tried to do this stuff and it ended up screwing me big time. And I'm still reaping the burdens of it. But at the end of the day, if I didn't risk that to see what that would have been, I wouldn't have known. And it would always been in the back of my head. So I think
there had to been learning experiences from that. You learned something about business or something about people's character, something to look out for the next time. We can get stuck on all the, whatever, if you had a fucking repo or some bad debt or some missed payments or something, whatever that bad time was, we can get stuck on that, or we can look at the learning lessons from that experience.
Yeah, and I think that was one of those learning lessons was I learned about all that stuff, and people are like, aren't you so pissed at, this individual, all that stuff? I'm like, I'm really not, because I learned from it. Yeah. I'm not, he was trying to do something and he wanted to see what would happen with it. Right. And I think that really helped guide us, to where we're at.
So I'm curious, because I made a lot of financial stupid mistakes when I first started making money. So What was your experience like going from making 30 to 300? Like, were you making stupid purchases? Were you going to Vegas all the time? Like, what were you doing?
Oh, I mean, I lived in Scottsdale, Arizona, and if you've ever been there, it's a very fun place.
It's also very hot.
It's very hot, yes. I kind of like the heat, so it's not that bad for me.
Not
but
fun. I dated a girl out there, and I was like, I don't know how you work outside all day.
Yeah,
I don't want to get out of the car.
I was in air conditioning, so it was like I was okay with it.
Yeah.
But I mean, back on the financial decision making, I was an idiot.
Yeah.
But when you first get, you're going to making $30,000 gross, by the way, and then making, over, 200 grand, let's say, or whatever, you make stupid decisions. And you sometimes try and people please, go out to dinner. Oh, I'll put my card down. Oh, I'll go do this. Yeah, that adds up a lot.
Yeah,
or you go
it's
party.
just a $500 dinner, like whatever.
Yeah, it's just a $500 dinner. Well, that $500 dinner happened 5 times this month. Or you're going and doing little things, right? I definitely regret some of the stuff that I did. I had a great time doing it. Don't get me wrong.
Of course.
But I think I could have set myself a lot up better financially. Not saying I'm broke by any means, but I definitely probably spent money and did things that I probably could have just stepped back on a little bit, partied a lot. But I was at that time where, I'm 24, 25 years old, and that's what you want to do when you're 24, 25 years old. So I don't regret it.
Do it at 28.
At all. Everything I did, I do not regret. But I wish I probably would have made some smarter financial decisions. And so I smacked myself on the head about that. But now, I'm about to turn 30. And so my whole thing is it's like, all right, well, I learned from those, times I had. I have a girlfriend now. And I've just, kind of realized like, okay, partying every single weekend doesn't really make me happy. I'm hungover, and trust me, when you hit like 27, I don't know why, but your hangovers get 10 times worse.
Oh, so much worse.
I'm one where I've been definitely settled down, and I've just really focused on more of like my business and, building relationships and, surrounding yourself with the right friend group. I think there's a lot of people that are still in this industry that probably don't surround themselves with the best, group, and they're always going out, they're always partying, they're always doing something. I've kind of switched it to finding hobbies like golf. I fell in love with golf, probably at like 25, and from there, especially when I became a broker, I had that more freed up time, and it's something where it's like a hobby. Yeah, cool, drink and hang out with your buddies. But at the same time, it's like, it's a mental game.
Yeah.
I like that like mental game that I can play with myself.
When you're always getting better.
And
you'll never be the best. It's impossible.
No.
But you're always progressing in that sport. Every time you go out, learning something, trying something new, doing stuff. And like, it's how life is. You're not going to be Jeff Bezos, but you can work towards it every day and get as close to it as possible.
As close to it as possible. And you look at like really, really successful people, and I've met and I know some really, really successful people that make easily over $1 million a year.
Yeah.
And from what they do, they don't really do anything different, but they put their freaking mind to it, and they've grinded and they hustled. And I admire those people. I look up to those people. And I think it's just one of those where it's just like, you have to realize like what's important to you. If going out every single weekend and, spending all this money, and good for you. Good for you. Yeah. I'm happy. Go for it. But if you want to just change up your game plan, and that's kind of what I did. I was over that, scene, and I'm happy that I got out of that scene, to be honest with you. But it's one where, I think alcohol is a big like mind thing, because it is addictive, and people can definitely keep drinking and not stop, and then they get severely hungover. You don't have any motivation to do anything the next day. You get bummed out. And so it's like, I've kind of tried to change that trajectory of my life and not drink as much, and trying to really focus on like, my health and everything. And I know that you've had some health things that have popped up in your past with your family members and stuff. And I think when you see, going down a rabbit hole, I guess right now, but when you see, a family member, someone pass away that's been really close to you, it goes back to that YOLO mentality. You only live once. What are you going to do every single day, to live, your best life?
Yeah.
And to enjoy your time. Not every day is going to be a great day, but try and have that positivity going in every single day, especially the days that you don't feel like doing crap. It's raining outside. It's tired. You don't want to do this.
But also, you need bad days to have good days. You cannot have a good day if every day is good. That's just your new baseline. So every day is just the same. So it's like the same thing. Like if you don't fail, you can't learn.
Exactly.
You won't get better if you don't have a failure or a misstep every once in a while.
And I have failed so many times.
Yeah.
And I think, one of my biggest failures, I would say, is, honestly, I like a client when I was at Rocket, I remember I ended up just messing up this loan and ended up affecting them. And it was a tough time to get through. And I just remember that probably wasn't my biggest failure, but it was something that stuck with me. And it's like, what if, there's things that you can control. You can control your controllables. And I probably could have controlled the situation better. And, I look back on some things and I'm like, wow, like, it bums you out, but you learn from your mistakes. And if you learn from your mistakes and you get better and you grow from them, you're going to be a better individual at the end of the day. And, sometimes you have to burn bridges. Sometimes, it's a tough conversation you have to have. But I think there's a lot of things that, us as human beings can do that we don't know we're capable of until we put our mind to it.
Yeah.
I didn't think I was going to be, being my own business owner. But, I had the opportunity, two guys, Tyler Barrett and Rodney Rivera, called me up and wanted me to be a part of, they were starting a mortgage company. And I think they're awesome mentors. They're really good individuals, and they, started a mortgage company from ground up, not really knowing what to get involved with. And I didn't really know what being a broker actually was too. And it's, changed my perspective on a whole lot of things. So it's been great.
And like going back to like, you don't know what you can do kind of thing. I feel like a lot of your 20s is that way. And a lot of people feel like, you're not going to, this actually stuck with me forever. One of my close friends, I was like 20. He was like, you're not going to make $100,000 till you're 30. And like, that's the mentality of a lot of people have is one, $100,000 is a lot of money. And it's not. If you live in Orange County, like you're almost on the poverty line at $100,000.
Yeah.
But like we all think that it's hard to do something big and make good money and do all these things. Like it's not. Like you just need to like set yourself up to do it. And that friend, actually, it's funny that he put that in my head because I could have used it as like he's right. Like that's just my destiny. But ever since that day, I was like, I'm going to prove him wrong. And I did. At like 24, I made my first $100,000 in a year. And I remember I called him. I was like, hey, fuck you. You were wrong. I beat you by 6 years.
Yeah.
Sorry that, you felt that way. Which granted, like we're really good friends and he makes good money and he's super stoked for me. He supports me all the time. But that's like such the mentality a lot of 20-year-olds have is how the hell do you do something like that?
Yeah.
And people call it like unreal money, but like it's not unreal.
It's not unreal when you can actually do something that you love. And you have to love what you do. I've seen a lot of friends that are miserable in their careers.
Yeah.
And they're switching from job to job to job. And they need to find out what they love to do. But any advice that I had for any of my friends that are switching job to job to job, I'm like, you have to do that to figure out what you love. And if you love marketing, if you love doing the social media stuff and the whole influencer, go for it. Give it a shot. If it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. I knew this guy that wanted to be a real estate agent. He really tried hard. He really did. He gave it his all, but he could tell after like a year of trying, it wasn't for him. And not everything is for someone. And I think I'm lucky that I was able to find something that was for me. I didn't think it was in the beginning. I was terrible in the beginning with the whole transfer stuff. I wasn't able to even barely pass the classes and all of that. But I was like, I love this. I actually like it. I enjoy it. I love talking to people. And that, changed. You got to find something you love. But I do think on a different note, a lot of people that are in that 20-year-old age group, like young 20s, they see a lot of what happens on social media. I think social media is great, but it can also be a
super destructive
mind fucking thing
Yeah.
Because you see these people, and granted, I'll give it to them, the Jack Doherty, or I don't know. There's all these people. The Nelk Boys, I think, honestly crush it. But
Honestly, they're like, they've made a business out of it, and I love their story. I followed them since they were nobodies, and it's Jesse and Kyle and their little Kia Soul sleeping on people's couches, and now they have like this massive alcohol company. They're a huge production team, like
massive.
What they did is probably the best version of it, but that's not.
But that doesn't happen to every single person. So you have a lot of people that are now trying to, kind of imitate that, or, do some, which is freaking hilarious, the stuff that those guys do. But at the end of the day, it's like you see these people making all this money, the 19-year-old that bought the Rolls Royce. Well, if you did this, you could, be like me.
Yep.
Well, is that really reality? Like, let's take a step back right now.
But that's what I liked about the Nelk Boys is they showed their true story, and it wasn't just I'm rich and famous.
Mm-hmm.
They actually were like, hey guys, we want to go film, but I need a couch to sleep on.
Yeah.
Like, it's not this like glorious, I started a YouTube channel and now I'm making $1 million. Like, there's a struggle to any business you're gonna have, but it shows like they just never gave up.
Yeah.
And then now they have something super outrageously successful, both of them. Like, Jesse's not even a part of it, and he has something different.
Yeah, and they just kind of grew, and then now they're, millionaires. But or you think about Dave Portnoy, with Barstool Sports, he didn't come from anything. And he started Barstool, I'm pretty sure, like Apple, like in the garage or something like that.
He borrowed some money from his parents to start a comedy sports newspaper.
Yes, that's what it was. And that one little thought came to something.
Yeah.
And I always say, like, if you want to do that, if you want, go for it by all means. But understand, you have that competition. There's so many other people out there. It's, I'm not good at the social media thing, like, whatsoever, but, I'm trying to get better at it. But at the end of the day, it's how you put yourself out there and what you do. And I think a lot of people, especially after COVID, the whole working from home thing, I don't really like a lot of people not like this if I say it. I don't like the working from home thing.
I mean, I'm horrible at it.
I think it's so destructive because you can have so many, and I got ADHD like a motherfucker. So I want to do a bunch of different things at once. Well, if you're at home, you could do your laundry. Oh, you can watch another Netflix show. You have all these distractions at your house, and you can't really focus on your work.
Well, once you do the laundry, the dishes are dirty, the bedroom's dirty. The next thing you cleaned your house all day, you didn't do shit.
Yes.
But you're going to convince yourself you worked that day.
You're going to convince yourself. And you're going to tell yourself, yeah, I did everything I needed to do.
Yeah, I made 5 calls today.
Yeah, I made 5 calls today. You do the absolute bare minimum. And I think I saw something when I was at Rocket as a director, and this was after COVID. We had everyone still working from home, and directors would come in the office. And I was in the office, and we all, bitch and complain, like, why are we still in the office? Like, this sucks. Like, everyone else is at home. Why can't we be there?
Yeah.
I kind of took it of, like, I kind of like going to the office. This is kind of fun. And so when I did that, that really, like, changed things for me. And when I had bankers start coming in the office, their production went up times 100. Because they were actually with me where I was able to help them, and they were able to grow because that's what they were focused on. They weren't watching their little YouTube video on the side of their computer or playing their video games during work. Like, they were able
to
do
be
this
there for a purpose.
For a purpose. The people that did that are still at Rocket and still very successful, or at another company and still very successful. And I think that was the difference. And so with people saying, like, oh, I need to work from home. Why do you need to work from home?
You don't.
That used to not be a thing, and now it is a thing. And I think that COVID really messed that up. Because people don't believe.
I mean, it's changing. Like, work from home is really quickly becoming not a thing because it's like a reality of just
I get it, like a hybrid schedule and stuff, but I bought my own private office in La Jolla because I need to work in an office.
Yeah.
And I need to know that I'm going to work. And I'm working.
Yeah, and if you're there and you're not doing anything, you're wasting your own time and money if you're paying for your own space.
When I started and I got the private office, I was doing okay. I was probably closing maybe $600 to $1 million deals in volume a month. When I got in that office, it was 2 million, 3 million, 4 million, 2 million. I never had a month where I didn't go below $1 million. And that's all because I was in that office. Because
Yeah.
I know if I wasn't, I would have had distractions, and there's no way in hell I would have probably ended up getting that done.
100%.
Yeah.
So like we're going to switch up a little bit here, but like what's like your why? That's not financial. Like why do you do what you do? And what's like
Yeah.
your long-term goal with either the money you're making or whatever?
So, I mean, my why has to stem. My birth mother passed away from cancer. And seeing someone go through cancer, my birth family, they are living in the Midwest. The income is really low with where they're at. They're
Yeah,
in a
you
very,
might make their yearly income in a month.
yeah, that's like, that's the area where like, you're doing
Yeah.
okay there, and that's nothing to say that that's a bad thing.
No,
It's
no.
just a different way of living. And seeing my birth mother, go through cancer, and I have 2 little brothers too, and a half sister over there, and seeing her go through cancer, and she's 40, gets hit with stage 4 colon cancer. Seeing that, how life can just snap you right there, it was devastating to see. And then she passed away, right? And seeing, my 2 little brothers, my half sister, that's tough, right? And I think there's a why behind everything. And shit happens for a reason. But I think my why at the end of the day is to help people, take care of people, no matter if they're friends, a neighbor, or some, random person out there on the streets. And understand that all people have a purpose, and it's my why goes for like why I do this every single day is because I want to see my little brothers become successful. I want to see my sister in Georgia become successful. I want to be a mentor towards people that can be able to, they might not know they can do it, but they really can if they put their mind to it.
Yeah.
And I think my biggest why is just caring and taking that care and showing to other people that you can do it if you put your mind to it, and you can really, really make a difference in not just your life, but other people's life. And I think just being that mentor and being that person that people can count on is huge. My why is family, friends, relationships, caring,
Being a leader.
and being a leader. Yeah.
Yeah.
Being a mentor, being a leader. And I used to not be a leader. But I ended up changing that.
Yeah.
And I think that was crucial. That's my why.
So what's the future look like for you? What are your plans?
So my plans are definitely to keep, being a part of the mortgage industry. I love what I do. The mortgage industry is extremely stressful.
Yeah.
So one thing I definitely want to do is manage my stress better. And that's something where, you go to therapy to help you out, right? But my long-term goals is to invest in a lot of real estate.
Do you have any?
Yes, I have one property right now. I'm hopefully buying another property by October, November time.
Hell
That's
yeah.
the goal. So I set up a long-term goal for mine. And one of my mentors told me this when I was at Rocket Mortgage was you got to put a couple of goals down. You put 3 short-term goals down and then 3 long-term goals down, personal and professional. So 6 basically altogether. My long-term goals are very simple. One of them is by 34 years old. So you want to make sure it's something you can achieve. And so I kind of structured it out like, okay, I want to own 5 properties by 34. So that's basically from 30 on. I already have 1. I need to buy 4 more, right? So I have 1 every single year to hit 34. If I don't hit that, I'm okay and comfortable, at least if I hit 3.
Yeah.
Right? And I've already told myself that's on there too. If you can't hit 5, hit 3. Make sure you hit 3, period. The next one is to basically have a family. Like that's my one thing is to get married, have a family, and be able to just have a really just loving and happy relationship. I have a girlfriend right now, and we've lived together. Everything's going great, and it's taking that next step. And then the third one is honestly to travel, and enjoy time with family. like, you know, my mom, my dad, because you don't want to look back when you're 50 and let's say one of your parents, you know, God forbid, passes away. I wish I would have done that with them. I wish I would have,
well, it's
you
not
know,
even like a God forbid, like it's gonna happen.
it's going to happen, right? One way or another. And you don't want to look back on 50 and basically say, man, I wish I would have gone on that golf trip with my dad.
Yeah.
When we had that planned and I canceled because, you know, I didn't want to do it. I was going to just push it off.
Or even when like they just can't even go do these things, like they're still alive but they're old.
And you can't
you can't go back.
You can't do that, right? And so I look on those things as like, that's a long-term goal of mine personally, is to just experience things that, you know, I want to do and go with my gut. I go with my gut a lot, and sometimes it's not the smartest decision in the world, but I think, you know, like I said, you got one life. What are you going to do with it?
Yeah.
And then with short-term goals, I make one every single, you know, one of my professional goals, for example, is to do over $40 million in volume this year. And right now I'm at, I think, 12 going on 13 million in funded loans. And I'm right there. I'm tracking for it.
Yeah.
If I don't hit that goal, do I get mad at myself? No. But it's one where it's like, okay, well, what did you do? What could you have done differently? And kind of reflect on it. And I have those goals in my office on Post-it notes, just sitting there looking at me every single day. I don't put them in a drawer. I don't, you know, I see those things every day. And so I'm thinking about that. No matter if I look at my computer, it's right there below my computer. And it has my goals. Every single one of them.
I do a vision board.
Vision board.
Every year. And I put it in my closet, actually.
Yeah.
Because it sounds like a weird place to put it, but like that's where you get dressed every day. So you see it every single day. And I've had that vision board hasn't changed much because I haven't hit those goals, but it doesn't matter. I just move it on to the next year.
It's moving on to the next year.
It's just constant progression. And I always give myself like crazy goals.
Yeah.
Like I had the goal of 500 grand in a year the last 3 years.
Yeah.
I haven't hit it. We're pacing for it, but like, you know, it just keeps on moving on and on and on. And then once you hit that goal, you get to the next.
Yep.
And you just level up.
I think that, and it's nice to have like an extreme, I call that like an extreme goal.
Yeah.
But it's not really that extreme if you're really like dedicated to it. Right. And I think a lot of people have, you know, they don't set goals for themselves. I used to make every single one of my bankers on my team set a goal for themselves. And it was really crazy when they actually hit that goal, like at the end of the year, or whether it was in 3 months from now or whatever it was. And they hit that goal, like you celebrate that. Like you won, you did it.
Yeah.
And you feel really freaking good about yourself when you can scratch a line through something
The
that you
serotonin's
accomplished.
crazy.
Oh my God.
Every quarter I do 5 goals. And like 3 are usually very realistic. Like read 3 books, go to the gym 30 times. Like things that are normal. And then I always put like 1 or 2 like crazy goals to work towards.
Yeah.
And if I can knock off at least the 3 easy ones, like I feel like that was a good quarter.
Exactly. I remember one I had was I wanted to do a half marathon last year. I never did it.
I did the same thing. I was supposed to do a full marathon. I got through 7 days of training. I ran 3 miles one day. I was like, I can't do that. I can't make it to 23 and a half miles.
Yeah. It's 26.
Even
26.
worse.
Even worse, right? I had, half marathon is one of my goals. I never did it. So it was just sitting there and it was blank. I crossed my other 2 off that I was doing. And that was the one that was sitting there. And so coming into this year, I saw that I was like, okay, I don't really like running that much. Like I enjoy running, but not that much. What can I do? And I found this thing that was like a sprint triathlon. So it was like, I think it was a 1/4 mile swim, 10-mile bike ride, and a 3.5 mile run. And I signed myself up for it. I paid like $200 and I signed myself up and I said, I'm doing this. And then one of my friends, he was like, I'm going to do it with you. And so I had someone to like do it with, and I crossed that off in May and I did it.
That's
and
great.
It felt really good to do that. Even though it was a goal of last year, I still had that on for this year. And I mean, it wasn't a half marathon, but it was something that I accomplished that really was mentally tough for me. You know, I work out, but that's like a whole different level in my opinion. And now I want to do an actual full triathlon. Like that's my goal. And so it's like taking these steps and really figuring out like what makes sense for you.
Well, it's something a mentor taught me back when I worked in solar. He said every year he does one thing that's really fucking hard.
Yeah.
So I've been doing that, and I've done the same thing 2 years in a row, but 75 hard.
75 hard.
And I get a group of people together. We all keep each other accountable. Granted, most of them fall off, most of them fail, some stupid shit. But last year I finished it first try. It was the greatest thing ever. I was in Boston too. It was January. Like I was going for my 30-minute outdoor workout in like
Freezing
a
cold.
foot of snow.
Yeah.
Windy. It's cold as hell. But like that was like part of the challenge.
Yeah.
And this year, unfortunately, I didn't finish it. I got sick, so like whatever. I couldn't.
Yeah.
Nothing I could do about it. But it's just like do something hard every year, and like it's kind of what you're doing. You did a half triathlon. Next year, you'll probably do the full one, and like it's the mental game to one up yourself.
Yeah, it's the mental game. I know a couple of folks that have done that 75 hard. I think it's incredible, and it's something I definitely want to do.
You should.
And it's a mental thing, 100%. And
January 1st, I'll start the group chat. You'll be in it.
Okay, all right, deal. And it's one where I think there's so many things people can actually really do when they strive to have a goal. But I think having a good support system is really good too. For instance, that individual that we're doing the sprint triathlon, I didn't want to run one day, but he told me we were running. I planned it. I'm one that doesn't want to bail on something like that, and so I did it. And then we kept kind of holding each other almost accountable, I felt like, and we made it happen together. And I think, if you are doing something, you have a goal that you don't think you can make happen, see if you can get someone to do it with you.
Yeah.
And that will really kind of take you to that next level.
Well, it's funny because there'll always be those days where like you don't want to do it. And the best motivator is when he's like, I also don't want to do it.
Yeah.
So let's do it together. Mm-hmm. And then it's almost like fun. And then after you're like, that wasn't even that bad.
No. I mean, I got done. I was beat, but I was like, yeah,
of course.
Bad. So I think, that's just something I always tell people is get a good support system. Your peers will influence what you do and your decision making all the time. And it's how do you, I was living in Scottsdale and I moved to San Diego to be with my girlfriend. Moving there, I was excited to move there because I wasn't going to be, and I love my friends. They're all great and everything. But I had the habit of always trying to go out and always doing something. Yeah. And I think I finally like kind of took a step back on that. And that's really helped me mentally. And I think sometimes it's okay to say no. I know you said like you want to say yes to everything. I've been reading this book called No More Mr. Nice Guy. It's one of my favorite books. It's about just how to be, a better individual. And one of them is kind of saying no, but it's not saying no to like everything, right?
Yeah.
But like that one night that you could have gone out, but you knew you had you knew you had to do something that next morning and you still went out and you felt like shit doing that thing. Well, now you're, mad about yourself. You could have just said no and stayed in.
Well, my yes to everything isn't exactly in regards like partying, but like things I don't want to do. Like if someone calls me and wants to do something where I'm usually like no, or like an experience or an opportunity.
Exactly.
Sure, let's do it. Like, what do I have to lose? Whatever. If I hate it, it's 2 hours of my day.
Yeah.
But like, who knows? I might meet the love of my life there. I might meet someone for business there. I might meet a client. Like, you never know what's going to be around that door, which like some people call it luck, but it's like, it's not luck if you went and did it. Like, you have to be there for it to be lucky.
100%. And I think it's like sometimes people get hesitant and be like talking to that guy that's sitting next to you at the bar, talking to that guy that's next to you on the airplane.
My favorite thing to do. Not the airplane. Don't talk to me on an airplane. I don't want to talk to you.
I mean, when we first getting on the plane and, this guy ended up having a conversation with him, he gave me this, huge, story about, stuff going on in his life. And I ended up doing a loan for him.
That's crazy.
And it's one of those where it's like, if I just decided to shut my mouth and not talk about anything, I would have never known that. I had I met another person that he was going to his bachelor party and I ended up doing his loan. So it just, you never know who you're going to meet.
Yeah.
And you never know, like, I always say, like, friends of friends, like, be nice to everybody. Like, if someone doesn't like you, whatever, move on, be the bigger person, walk away.
You never know what that person might bring to your life.
Yeah, you never know what someone would bring to your life. And I think I've had a lot of experiences. I have a friend that, we've been friends since kindergarten, and he's a realtor in Nashville, Tennessee, and he crushes it.
Yeah.
And him and I kind of fell off. Didn't really hang out that much towards like junior, senior year of high school. Didn't really talk at all like in college or anything like that. Maybe wished each other like happy birthday or something. And then, you know, I saw that he was an agent. I saw he was doing business. And the only thing I did is I asked to go out there to go visit him. And I told him, you know, that I'm sorry that I kind of like, not like I kind of ignored you, but like we kind of just separated. And, you know, I said, you know, you're a good lifelong friend of mine. And that's not because I want business from him. And I never really asked for it. I never really asked. And now he's been giving me business. You know, we've created a relationship where we're friends. You know, we talk, you know, probably at least like twice a month, 3 times a month, or whenever we're doing business together or something. But we just have that past and that history. And it's nice that, you know, I was able to put my guard down. I'm not like, oh, please give me some business.
Yeah.
Like I was hurting during the time. I was just starting out as a broker. I didn't have any business. I didn't ask him for stuff. All I did was I was just like, hey, can I come out there, hang out with you, your husband, you know, and, you know, just enjoy your guys' company and just, you know, go out and do stuff. And it ended up turning out to, you know, even a better relationship now. So it's, you know, people you got to be thankful for at the end of the day.
So running a little low on time here.
Yeah.
What's something you would, like some advice you'd give to someone who wanted to do, like make a change in their life and make a jump that can change their whole trajectory?
I'd say take a risk and take a calculated risk. Understand that you may not be that great right from the start, but that doesn't mean that a year later you finally got it all dialed in and you're good to go.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people will give up too easily. And so for someone that wants to make a change or wants to change the life trajectory they're on, come up with a plan on how you're going to do it. And it doesn't need to be this whole detailed out thing, but a mental plan. Maybe write some notes on your phone or write some notes on paper, and figure out how to take that risk and talk to support groups about it. Talk to your friends, your mentors, your peers, whoever you have, mom, dad, whatever it is, brother, sister. I think doing that and taking that risk and taking it calculated, but not giving up. And don't give up too early.
You got to execute. You can sit there and write that plan for a year, and that year could be detrimental in getting somewhere quickly.
Exactly. And I think it's people that take that risk, don't have a plan, and then give up. You got to do the opposite.
Yeah.
Take the risk, create a plan, and don't give up. Just keep trying. And if you really get to that point where you're like, I can't do this, have that conversation with a friend or someone like that. And if you're getting how, you know, they're feeling like you can't, all right, well, let's see what else we can do.
Yeah.
But I always say you can't give something. My dad always said, give everything a year. Give everything a year. And he told me the whole thing about the broker thing. I called him like, I can't do this right now. I shouldn't have left Rocket, all this stuff. He goes, just give it a year, see what happens. You know, you got some savings. Like you can be able to take care of it, like figure it out. If I didn't give it that year and I gave up, I would not be sitting here with you right now. I don't know what the hell I would be doing. Probably just working a desk job.
That's powerful.
You know, so that's my best advice. Don't give up and keep trying.
Well, I love it. Your story's great.
I appreciate you having me on, man.
Excited to work with you.
Yeah, no, it's been great.
Yeah, so. Crazy the connections we've made on the way. I'm sure there's plenty more, which is crazy.
Yeah, I guarantee it.
This was a lot of fun, and I hope the best success for you and
you as well.
Gonna love watching you grow.
Yeah, no, this has been awesome, man. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it. Thank you.
To everyone who made it to the end, I appreciate you and all the support you've given so far. Stay tuned for weekly episodes, and if you know anyone who might be a good candidate for the show, please drop it in the comments below or shoot me a DM.